Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing and blessed day today. Hope everything is going well. Here we are, Thursday. Hope everything is awesome. And you know what? I forgot to turn this light on. There we go. Now you can see me. How about that? So, I hope you got a lot out of yesterday's message. If you didn't see it, I'd recommend going back and watching it. I was a little emotional. Today shouldn't be nearly as emotional, but today I'm going to talk about how and why I went to Bible college. And after I got saved, I really started diving in and just consuming the Bible, diving into messages, just going after it, serving at church and doing all kinds of stuff. And after a year or two, I really started feeling like I wanted to get into ministry, but I'm thinking to myself, who am I? What do I know? I'm just, I just got saved a couple of years ago. Who am I to get into ministry? And I was listening to a message from Andrew Womack, a pastor in Colorado Springs, and he has a Bible college, and people would always come up to him and ask, "Oh, or say, I'm not sure if God wants me to go to Bible college or not." And he would get real sarcastic with them and say, "Oh, yeah, for sure. He wouldn't want you to sit under a bunch of good teaching and spend time with him and spend a bunch of time in prayer and to get closer to him. He wouldn't want that." So that kind of hit me. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So after talking to my pastor Ed Shirley, we decided to go to a church, a school by a man named Jim Richards, who is amazing, an amazing teacher, just an absolute amazing teacher, able to take the most complex ideas, wisdom of the ancient times, all kinds of science, and make it understandable, make it real, make it able to apply to your life. Try to say that. So anyway, so I went to his school, which was in Huntsville, Alabama, for 2 years, and it was an experience. Let's just say that it was an experience, and it was the hardest thing I went through, and an amazing thing I went through. And unfortunately, the spring before I got there, Jim Richards was in a car accident, and from that had a lot of medical issues. There was a lot of things that I didn't even know was going on until after the fact. But what was going on there when I was there was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. There's all kinds of problems and stuff. And a lot of it had to do with Jim's physical things that was going on. And then there was this kid in the first year. So there was 45 students. It's not a big school by any means. And there was about 300 or so, 350 people at the church. And so there was this one kid that he was one of those guys that could see all the problems. And instead of thinking, well, what can I do to help? What can I do to solve these problems? No, he would point them out to everybody and say, look how terrible this place is. And he caused so much strife and division. And at the time, it was just crazy. It was just weird. It was just, you're just trying to study, just trying to get things done. And things are just falling apart. So the first year was 45 students. The second year I was there was 2 students. And I was one of 2 that made it from the first year. So that can give you an idea. And this church went from 350 people down to 100 people. So it was a mess. But what I did get out of it was a consistent theology from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, and just great biblical understanding and teaching. And what I also got out of it was the understanding of the great responsibility it is to be a pastor and to be a minister. That is a huge responsibility. And what I knew was that all I was seeing there was a lot of what not to do. And I knew I was not ready to jump out and just start my own ministry and go at that point, because I did not have the right teaching. I had the theology, I had the biblical understanding, but it wasn't the practical how to run a church in a godly way, in a good way that brings life to people. And that's really what it. So I decided that I needed to go back to Mountain High and just immerse myself in how to run a church and what that means. And so I learned a lot. I got a ton out of it. Unfortunately, a lot of it was what not to do. So I wanted to learn what to do. And that's how we need to do. Sometimes it's okay to know what not to do. That's a good thing, but we also need to know what to do. So we will talk to you tomorrow.